Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday. It's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I answer them to the best of my ability. I love doing this because it's so eclectic. You never know what you're going to get. Some of the questions are absolutely amazing. So thank you in advance for anyone that's left a question. If you do want to leave a question, then please do so down below. All you have to do is leave a question in this video, because if they're all over the place, I find it very difficult to find those questions. Leave a question down below and I'll answer it next Sunday. Also, just to let you guys know, before I start answering the questions, we have a bonus video going up tonight on the channel at 9 o'clock. If you saw the interview, we put a bonus video up on Wednesday with Gary Sumpter from Ace Magic Studio, and he talked about Ace Magic Studio and his career in magic and all this fun stuff. It was a great interview. But I'm doing a review show special on Ace Magic Studio. I bought a whole bunch of stuff off them, and a lot of people haven't seen these before. For some reason, they don't do trailers, which is kind of really weird. But I'm doing a review show special. There's some really great stuff. There's something that's really not very good, to be honest, and in fact it's terrible. But there's like probably one of the best book tests I've ever seen. It's going out tonight at 9 o'clock. It's a one-off special, a review show special, like we did on the 1914, but this is on Ace Magic Studio. So make sure you check that out at 9 o'clock tonight. And now, without further ado, let's have a look at the first question. Okay, so the first question is by Zachary Garza. Hey Zachary, how you doing? And the question is, in the Mem Deck Magic stuff, you mentioned that Pete Turner has a way for openly arranging the deck. Can you point to where he talks about the method in a book, video, or lecture? I can't find it anywhere. Absolutely, Zachary. He actually talks about it on the original download video for the Stack Watch. As much as I wasn't particularly the biggest fan of the Stack Watch, and I haven't seen Stack Watch 2. There's no way I'm going to go out and buy another Stack Watch after seeing the first one. The download was really good with it. I mean, absolutely amazing, as you would expect from Pete Turner. And he talks about all things stacks, and he talks about his method for getting the deck into stack, taking a regular shuffle deck of cards and getting it into stack. And it's a very clever method. In all honesty, though, he's not the only person that can do that. He's not the only person that's done that. Matt Baker, in his book, The Buena Vista Shuffle Club, has a way of taking a half a deck and getting it into stack. But you could very easily expand on that to a whole deck. And then you've got the sort of the main way that people are doing now, which is absolutely amazing, which is Thought Master by Patrick Redford. And what Thought Master allows you to do is do a really strong, like 3 or 4 phase card routine with multiple revelations. And what's happening is, as you're doing this card routine, you're actually stacking the whole deck into whichever stack you want. Obviously, he uses Redford stack, but Mnemonica or, whatever you want to do. So, and that is a really clever way of doing it because it's done throughout the course of a trick, as is Pete Turner's version, to be honest. Thought Master, it's a $10 download. It's well worth looking at if you want to be able to do that sort of stuff. But if you're specifically after the Pete Turner method, then you can find it on the instructional download to the Stack Watch video. Hope that helps. Danny Marco says, Craig, we have to address the lack of Paul Harris in your videos. Well, I'm very sorry about that, Danny. I really, really am. I have put a load of Paul Harris stuff out. I've done a lot of Magic Lives where I've performed Paul Harris tricks or variations of Paul Harris tricks. Last week I did the 3 self-working tricks you've never seen before, and I included in there Overkill by Paul Harris. But you are right. I haven't actually done anything specifically Paul Harris. I am planning on doing a 5x5 on Paul Harris. I think the 5x5 format is perfect to analyze a particular performer. I did it on Jay Sankey. Spoiler alert, I've got one coming up in the next couple of weeks on John Bannon, and then I'll probably do Paul Harris next. So sorry about that, Danny, but there will be more Paul Harris material coming soon. Okay, so the next question is from Sean McDowell. Great Q&A today. Have you thought about doing a coaching program on marketing for magicians that would be separate from your regular YouTube schedule? It's something that I have actually considered doing. And there's a few things. You know what? I'm a massive fan of marketing. I really am. I love marketing. I love the whole process behind it. I've got a qualification. I've got a degree in marketing. I just love marketing. I really do. And when I first started this channel, as I've said before, I had a whole Mondays weren't 5x5s. They were marketing videos, and they just weren't very popular. People didn't really buy into them. Now that might have been because I started this channel in the middle of a pandemic, and the last thing magicians were concerned about was actually getting more work. That probably could have something to do with it, but it could also have something to do with the fact that, you know, a lot of people aren't wanting to make a full-time career out of magic. They don't care about marketing because they just do it for fun, in which case that's fine as well. It might just be that, you know, people just aren't interested in magic and marketing, and they just want to learn tricks. Whatever the reason is, I stopped doing the marketing videos. However, I have had lots of people talk to me about marketing, so there's a couple of things I'm going to be doing. The first thing is, when this channel gets to 10,000 subs, that's the goal I've set myself, I'm going to set up a second channel specifically about marketing for performers. I'm going to be putting content out similar to what I do on this channel, probably not like as many videos as we do on this channel. Like, we're doing 23 videos a week if you count the shorts, so not as much content as we put out on this channel, but still quite a lot, still more than you'd see on a normal channel. And I'm going to be putting interviews out with business leaders and business experts. I'm going to be talking about marketing, but specifically from a performance point of view. So that's going to happen when I get to 10,000 views. However, regarding a course, I've been speaking to a particular magic company that specialise in this sort of thing, and we're talking about the possibility of doing a course where we literally break down everything from a marketing point of view and talk to people about how to get more gigs. And how ultimately that's what it's all about, right? Why do you want to market? You want to market because you want more sales. Why do you want more sales? Why do you want more gigs? You want more gigs because you want more money. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. So this course thing would be through this company, and it would be like a real in-depth, deep dive into how to get more gigs, which I think would be really valuable. So I'm talking to this company at the moment. I'll let you know when anything comes of it. But let me know down below if that's something you're interested in. Is this something that you guys would be interested in? A second YouTube channel and like a full-on deep dive course? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so the next question is from Hungry and Hungover. Hey, buddy. Have you ever been to Vegas? And if so, what magic shows did you see and who would you recommend? I've been to Vegas 3 times now. Once to do Magic Live, and I went with Dave Penn, and then we released off the back of that the Dave and Craig road trip video. Once to do another magic thing that was work related, that had nothing to do with going to magic conventions, and once because I actually got married in Vegas. Myself and Sarah, we got married in Vegas. It is not as dodgy or as seedy as it sounds. It does sound dodgy and seedy, but it was all planned. Basically, and as I say, you know, I do share a lot on this video, on this channel, and I have had other comments saying, yes, we want to hear more more stories about you and Sarah. The reason we got married in Vegas was very simply because we were planning this wedding, and Sarah's got a very big family. She's got a lot of family. I, however, haven't got much family. My mum and dad have passed away now. I don't really have much family really to speak of. But Sarah's family, there were certain ways that they wanted the wedding to go. And Sarah didn't particularly want the wedding that she was told that she should have, or she was being advised to have. So I turned around to her and I said, well, look, this is causing you stress, Sarah. This is causing you anxiety. Why would you even worry about this? Why don't we just do our own thing like we always have? And she went, what do you mean? And I said, well, why don't we just go? Why don't we just not tell anyone and just go? And she was like, can we do that? I'm like, of course we can do that. It's our lives. Of course we can do that. So that's what we did. She told her sister, and only her sister, because she needed somebody to help find the wedding dress. And we booked a 2 week, 2 weeks to Vegas. We stayed in the Circus. And there's a beautiful chapel in there. I like the idea of the Circus because obviously it was very magic and circusy themed, but we didn't tell anyone. We didn't even tell anyone we were going away. And then when we got there, we organised which day we were going to have the wedding on. Then we had the wedding, and we didn't tell anyone. But what we did do is we sent everyone an email saying, hey, Craig and Sarah here. We're getting married, by the way. It's going to take place your time, midnight tonight. Click on this link and you can watch it live and you can watch the whole wedding. And we're going to have a bit of a celebration when we get back. Bye. And that's what we did. We went to Vegas, we got married, and our wedding entertainment was the best wedding entertainment ever, because in the evening we went to watch Penn and Teller at the Rio. So what's not to love? So yeah, that's the big piece of advice that I can give you, is that you know, if there's something in your life that's happening that's not making you happy, then change direction. It's as simple as that. Don't think that you can't. You can. And as a happy bonus, Sarah's dad didn't speak to me for about 2 or 3 years after that. So he was really annoyed. So that was great as well. I mean, there was literally no downside to this plan. So yeah, there you go. In terms of what shows I've seen at Vegas, I've always gone and seen Penn and Teller. They are my favourite act ever. Penn and Teller are amazing. I saw Chris Angel while I was over there one year. Chris Angel was great. Seen David Copperfield. David Copperfield was great. Nathan Burton, I thought, had some really great stuff. Really, really funny stuff. I saw the amazing Jonathan live with Sarah when we got married in Vegas, and that was brilliant. Like, that was possibly the best show I've ever seen in Vegas. The Amazing Jonathan was unbelievable. Sarah had never even heard of The Amazing Jonathan before, and I said, you're in for a real experience here, and she absolutely loved it. So there's probably I saw Matt King as well, a whole bunch of other stuff. So any of those shows are great. Matt King I always recommend to people. I don't know if Chris Angel's still doing his thing over there now, I'm not too sure, but yeah, Penn and Teller. Penn and Teller for me is the best show in Vegas, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so the next question is by Mick Fitz, and Mick says, what is the most anticipated release this year for you? What is the most anticipated release this year for you? Well, there's a lot of stuff that's because of me doing the review show in this channel, I do get a chance to see things before they come out. And obviously we don't know what's coming out. I don't know. The most anticipated thing might not have even been announced yet. But the two things that I've seen that I know firsthand, I am so ridiculously excited for. The first one is the new Cube thing by Henry Harrius Presents. Oh my gosh, that is a complete and total game changer. It's unbelievable. Like, we're talking actually unbelievable. Like, although he's brought out Venom Cube and Instacube and all of this stuff, this thing that he's got coming out, everybody's going to want to do it. And you don't need to even be a cube magician to do it. And normally when people say you don't need to solve the cube, you do need to solve the cube, because if you make a mistake when you're practicing, you have to solve the cube in order to start again. With this, you don't need to solve the cube. Now, I always say to people, you have to solve a cube, because if you're doing magic with Rubik's Cubes, I think it's important to be able to at least solve it. But technically, you don't need to solve this cube at all. But it is unbelievable. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not say about it, but I will tell you that I've recorded an interview with Henry, which is going to, and he talks in depth about this thing, very, very openly, as well as his amazing career. This is one of the best interviews I've done. It's going up. It's going to be, I think it's going to be the Tuesday at the end of, is it? I think it's the 20th. I think it might be the 20th of March, possibly. Something around about then. I know it's coming up fairly soon. I think it's Saturday the 20th of March. I'm pretty sure it's Saturday the 20th of March. Henry Harrius interview will go live, and he talks about this thing in great detail before it's even released to the general public. So watch out for this interview. That is going to be a game changer. Every cube magician is going to use this to close their set, I guarantee you. The other thing that I'm looking forward to is something that Dee Christopher showed me from his production company 1914, and this, I'm not going to give anything away, but it uses a, am I allowed to say that? I think I'm allowed to say, it uses a Zippo lighter, which is incredible because I carry Zippo lighters around when I'm performing all of the time. But it uses a Zippo lighter, and it is the best trick I've seen, not just with the Zippo lighter, but period. When he showed it me, over Zoom, my mouth just dropped. I was like, no way. I guarantee you that every magician's going to want that in their act, and they're going to do it every single time. It is. If you thought the Shadow Wallet was good, This is 20 times better than the Shadow Wallet. It is unbelievable. So for me, those are the two things that I'm most anticipating. But, you know, is there something I haven't heard of? Let me know in the comments down below. But for me, it's the Zippo lighter thing from 1914, and it's Henry's new cube thing from Henry Harriers Presents. Another question by Mitch Fitz is, what is the best gimmick ever produced in your opinion? Man, there's billions of gimmicks, dude. What's the best gimmick produced? I don't know. I mean, there's millions of them. I absolutely, you know what? Let's take a card gimmick, let's take a utility gimmick, and let's take a coin gimmick. And if there's any people who are regulars to this channel, my answer is not going to surprise you. The best coin gimmick ever created, in my opinion, is the flipper coin. If you don't know what the flipper coin is and you don't know why I love it so much, go check out my 45-minute deep dive on the flipper coin. That will tell you everything that you need to know. The flipper coin, in my opinion, is absolutely brilliant. It allows you to focus on the vanish instead of on the appearance. And thank you to everybody that watched that video and then said they bought a flipper coin on the back of it. I really appreciate that. So flipper coin, for me, is the best coin gimmick. Best card gimmick is one that's a little bit unheard of. It was around years and years and years ago. You don't see it much these days, and that's Tool by David Stone. Tool by David Stone. It allows you to do so much incredible magic. Like Tool by David Stone, I do 20 or 30 tricks with it. I've shared some of them on Magic Lives. Tool is brilliant. Like, I'm talking brilliant. What it allows you to do basically is you have a regular deck of cards in a card case, and at any moment you can do color changes, you can do switches, you can do transpositions, you can do torn and restored cards. It's just limited by your imagination. Tool is fantastic. I did the Penguin Magic podcast with Eric Tate recently, and he asked me my 3 favorite tricks or something, and I actually put Tool in there as one of them. And so many people don't do it, and I don't understand why, because it sits there on the card case, ready to use when you need it, and then you're left with a regular deck of cards afterwards. It's absolutely brilliant. And then the number one prop, I would have to say, the number one gimmick that isn't related to cards and coins would have to be the good old thumb tip. Because there is so much you can do with the thumb tip. And if you're just the guy that's putting a silk into your hand and making it disappear, you are using the thumb tip wrong, my friend. That's all I can say about that. You're using the thumb tip wrong. What you want to be doing is you want to use the thumb tip to do so many different things that you can do. And I'm actually doing a video soon about my favorite tricks with the thumb tip, and I'm kind of doing a bit of a deep dive into this. But some, for example, is the $100 bill switch. $100 bill switch is absolutely brilliant. There's so much magic you can do with the $100 bill switch. But if you're just going to do it to change a bill, and change it into a different bill, I mean, it's amazing. It really is. It makes a great opener. But there's so many different things that you can do with it. You can also do the Skittles trick. I don't know if you guys saw me on a 5x5 recently. I did the Skittles trick by Michael Kaminskas, where you open up a Skittles packet, tip out the Skittles, eat them, and then seal up the Skittles packet. That uses a thumb tip. Some of the stuff Nate Kranzo's put out, hot sauce, was brilliant, where you take a match, you put it in your hand, you get a big burst of fire come out of it, and then when you open up your hand, you've got a packet of hot sauce. That's brilliant. His bent coin is fantastic. He borrows a coin, he puts it into his hand, drops a match in, big burst of flame. When he opens it up, their coin is bent. Like, that all uses, the methodology behind it is 90% thumb tip. So many creative people are doing so many creative things with the thumb tip, but a lot of people overlook it because they think, oh, it's just a way to make a hanky disappear. Whilst in reality, there's so much more you can do with it. And that's without taking into consideration there's lots of other different types of thumb tips. Look at Prop Dog's oversized thumb tip, which is used to make rings disappear in routines. Dave Bonsall uses it quite a lot in some of his work. There's so many different things that you can do with a thumb tip. I'm going to get off my high horse now, but in all honesty, I tell you, the thumb tip is cool. But get a thumb tip. But yeah, those are my 3 favorite. Those are my 3 favorite gimmicks in Magic. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so the next question is by Mr. Harmon, keeping his streak alive. Hey, Mr. Harmon, only one question for me today, which is, who is your favorite creator of magic? Who's your favorite creator of magic? Man, that's a question and a half, isn't it? Ultimately, I'm going to say it's Richard Sanders. Mainly because everything that he releases is absolutely gold dust. He's not the sort of guy that releases 20 or 30 or 40 tricks a week, and some of it hits and some of it doesn't. When you know that Richard Sanders has released a trick, it's a good one. Like, it's a great trick. And his material, like, I've done or still do his material all the time. Fibre optics and Fibre Optics Extreme is in the set of so many cabaret, stage, kids, close-up performers. Interlace, absolutely brilliant. Extreme Burn, his handling of Pat Page's Easy Money, in my opinion, is the best, especially if you use the Locked and Loaded edition. It's just absolutely amazing. And that's not even touching on some of the stuff that he did on his 3 DVD set. Uprising, absolutely brilliant. His rising card with a regular deck of cards. Stickman 4, one of the best packet tricks ever created. I featured it on the very first three best trick series when I talked about packet tricks. I included it in there. Absolutely amazing. So ID card. I've talked about ID card in the past, where, you know, a picture of an ID card, it changes into. It's amazing. There's so much stuff that he's done, and so much stuff he creates, and it's why so many Magic Lives that I do have Richard Sanders routines on them, because frankly they're all super commercial. If I want to give you some honourable mentions, I would say John Bannon is really good, Jay Sankey is really good, James Brown is really good, Justin Miller is really good. He's created some absolutely amazing stuff. Obviously, you've got Paul Harris, you've got Michael Kaminskas, you've got Rune Klan, you've got Greg Wilson. All of these people are brilliant. You've got Daryl, you've got Michael Amar. The list goes on and on and on. Joshua J, sometimes we forget how much stuff that Joshua J has actually created, but he's done some amazing stuff in the past, you know, some absolutely brilliant material. I mean, I could just keep going. There's so many really good creators, but for me, the best creator is Richard Sanders. Okay, so the next question is by J Kelly 7. Hey there, man. How you doing? Hi, Craig. Got 2 questions. One, what product do you prefer, Cinemental or Pocket Screen Test? Cinemental. I just think that's a slightly better routine. That's just my opinion. I think they're both great, but Cinemental. Number 2, would you consider creating a Discord for the channel, or perhaps a monthly Magic Jam event? Great content as normal. No, I wouldn't, because I know how much work Alakazam are putting into it, and I haven't got enough time to do that sort of thing. However, and I don't want to talk about this again because I talked about it on last week's show, but when we create the Netrix, and when that goes live, which we're hoping is going to be summer, there's going to be regular jams built into there. So as well as all the content that I talked about last week, there's going to be weekly live sessions with me, and sometimes it'll be a lecture, sometimes it'll be me getting some of my friends to some other creators in Magic to actually do a lecture. Sometimes it's going to be a case of just sitting down and having a jam and showing each other Magic and stuff, but that's going to be a built-in feature of Netrix, that every single week I'm going to be doing that, because the platform we're creating allows us to do that internally, which is really cool. However, with regards to Discord, I'm really getting behind the Alakazam team. I did the Chop Cup lecture, which was really well received. I'm just planning out the intermediate Chop Cup lecture. However, I think the next thing I'm doing for Alakazam on the Discord, and you heard it here first, I think they're going to be promoting it soon, is I'm going to be doing a full teaching on the 3-ball routine. Now, if you don't, I'm not going to perform the whole thing right now, but if you don't know what the 3-ball routine is, it uses these little bouncy balls. I don't know if the camera's set up so you can see these, but I love the 3-ball routine. Little known fact, I carry these things around with me everywhere. I've got so many different sets of these, just because I absolutely love them. But this routine is something that you know, it's so good. There's so many different ways of doing it. The first person I saw do it was David Roth, but I've got some touches of my own, and they've asked me to do a Discord lecture on the 3-ball trick, and I think it's one of the most commercial tricks there is, because you can have it in your pocket, you're good to go anytime, anywhere, there's no reset, everything's examinable, it's different, it's not a card trick or a coin trick, there's no angles once you do it correctly, and if you do it old school with a net and you get them to hold the net, people can see it from the audience, because if you use a sheer net and you're dropping the balls down, they can see underneath the net. The people that are watching can see it. It's just a brilliant trick that you can do in sort of any environment. So yeah, the 3-ball routine I'm doing next, and I think I'm doing it as I did with the Chop Cup. So I'm going to do 2 sessions, and there's going to be limited to 25 people per session. It's not going to be recorded, and it's not going to be repeated. So if you want to be a part of that, then make sure that you let Alakazam know, because I know that there were people that couldn't come to the Chop Cup lecture that wanted to because it had sold out. It has to be a first come, first serve basis. I say sold out, but it's free. I'm just doing it for free. I'm doing it because I love it. So yeah, that's the next thing I'm doing with Alakazam. I have got a few other things lined up with them as well. But yeah, I mean, I just enjoy talking about magic. So that's why I'm working with Alakazam on this. And I said to them, look, we've got this ability to teach people magic and not charge them. That's brilliant. And it's going to be, kept secret. So it's not like something I'm putting on YouTube. That's brilliant. Count me in. So yeah, if you haven't gone on the Alakazam Discord channel yet, please do so, because that's going to be something I'm really excited about. I don't see anyone doing the 3-ball trick. And I'm hopefully going to be trying to convince some more people to do it. And all you need is 4 little bouncy balls and you're good to go. Okay, so the next question is by Matty Mediocrity. Hey, Matty. Question is, would you interview Graham Jolly? Yes, I would. I'd interview anybody as long as I feel that they are putting the right information across to the people that watch this channel. I'll interview anybody. And the amount of people I've got lined up for interviews and the amount of videos we're editing at the moment is just insane. But absolutely 100% I'd interview Graham. In fact, I should reach out to him because I think he's really good. I've got some great interviews that I've just done that we're editing at the moment. I mean, people like Steve Spill, Scott Alexander, Mark Spellman, Faye Presto, the list goes on and on. Some really great people. So yeah, I mean, if you didn't see it, Dan Harlan went live yesterday. Dan's interview, if you haven't seen it, please go back and watch it. Dan's interview is incredible. He blew me away. He is such a knowledgeable guy. And he dropped a bombshell. He dropped an absolute bombshell on that interview that blew me away. And I didn't realize he made a huge announcement. And I mean a huge announcement. So look out for that interview. It was yesterday it went live. Just check it out. Look in the video section or the Talk Magic section. Or just type in Talk Magic Dan Harlan. It'll come up. And watch it. Go watch it, because it's one of the best interviews I've done. But yeah, if you guys have got suggestions for people that you want me to interview, let me know in the comments. Tell me who you want me to interview and I'll reach out to them if I haven't already reached out to them before. But Graham Jolly is a great shout. I think that Graham Jolly would be an amazing person to interview, and I will look into that. Okay, so the next question is by Andy Tingley. And Andy says, what advice would the 45-year-old Craig tell to the 16-year-old Craig? Well, first of all, I'm 44. Don't age me just yet. I'm not quite middle-aged. Okay, I'm not quite mid-40s. I am, let's be honest. My birthday's in April. But what would the 45-year-old Craig say to the 16-year-old Craig? Well, the 16-year-old Craig wasn't even into magic. Remember, I was like a late bloomer when it came to magic. I didn't really start doing magic until I was 18 years old. So what would I don't, if I gave my 16-year-old advice about my 16-year-old self advice about magic, he wouldn't know what you're talking about, right? You need to work on this move. What are you on about? I don't know is the answer. It's such a difficult question, that is. I don't think I'd say anything, because the thing is, I've been through some crap in my life. I mean, I've been through some terrible moments in my life, as has everybody. Life isn't always peaches and cream. There's highs and there's lows and there's ebbs and there's flows and there's ups and there's down and stuff like that. However, I am where I am now because of my experiences in life. What I mean by that is, if I hadn't had that low, would I have made a decision that I made that led me to make another decision that ultimately led me to be where I am right now? And right now, I'm in a great place. I'm happy. I'm doing this YouTube channel, which I love. I've got, I get to go out and perform, which is good. I'm happy with how my businesses are going. I've got an amazing wife. I've got fantastic kids. I'm in a good place. I'm in a really good place. And I'm worried that if I gave my 16-year-old advice, my 16-year-old self some advice, that might screw things up. It's like that butterfly effect, isn't it? A butterfly flaps its wings somewhere in the world and then someone dies. Maybe I'm looking at it too much like a sci-fi geek. I don't know. But I think I needed all the experiences in my life in order to be where I am right now. I think the only advice that I'd say is, just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride, whatever it is, whatever happens within your life, just enjoy it. You know, that's what it's a bit cheesy, but I think that's what I'd say, because it's not about the journey, it's about the destination. And obviously I'm still on my journey, but right now, where I am right now, I'm in a good place, I'm happy. And I don't want to change that. And I think that by giving my 16-year-old self and saying, hey, okay, you know, like in 2020, what you want to do around about 2019, 2020, get shares in Zoom. That's what you want to do. Get shares in Zoom. Don't ask me why, just get shares in Zoom. Do you know what I mean? Or you know, you might want to put yourself together a show that works virtually, you know, before 2020. Try and get it in the bag by 2019. Get one that you can do over the screen. I don't think any of that matters. Money for me, I'm not a money motivated person. Anyone will tell you that knows me. I'm not a money motivated person. What motivates me is having fun and enjoying myself and enjoying my life and doing fun stuff. And as long as I'm doing fun stuff, I'm happy. So I don't think I would give my 16-year-old self advice. I'd just say, hey, enjoy the journey, dude. You're gonna go through some great times. You're gonna go through some terrible times, but you're gonna make it out, and you're gonna be okay on the other side. Okay, so the next question is by Stevie Seltzer Moves. He says, would tricks have out options as well? Most tricks show how they're done, but not always tell you where you can go wrong. I think being confident in the out makes you more confident in that routine. Yeah, I don't know if I've spoken about this on the channel before. I might have, I might not have. But in my opinion, outs are really, really important. You should examine every single trick, and you should work out where that trick should go wrong. And that's really, really important, because you can learn a routine and you can do it, and that's fine. But we've all seen those magicians that are completely thrown. Something's happened and they didn't expect it to happen, and they're completely thrown, and they don't know where to go, and they don't know what to do. Think about every single scenario. Think about everything that can go wrong in every single scenario with your magic, and then imagine what you would do in that situation. So on the 5x5 last Monday, I put a video up, and it was a live wedding performance of me performing my trick Easy Waltzer. And I performed for the bride and groom. And in that performance, you can go back and watch it, it's last 5x5. In that performance, I was performing to the bride, and I said, hey, she just picked a card. And I said, hey, can you do me a favor and put your name on there, sign your name? Actually, isn't it your new name? Your new name. And she went, no, I'm keeping my old name. He's taking my name. Now, that could be a very awkward situation. That I've just highlighted that on the head table in front of everybody. That can be a very awkward situation. And I'd already I hadn't thought about what to do in that situation, because that's incredible. But I had actually considered what would happen if something like that happens. It might not necessarily be that particular scenario, but what would happen if I've assumed something and that assumption is completely wrong, and I get called out on it in front of everybody. And my attitude is to just own it and make a joke of it, which I did. I was like, oh, wow, fantastic, boom, yeah, go you. And a couple of people commented and said, wow, you dealt with that really, really well. I think that would have thrown me a bit. It's not that I cope with it really, really well. It's just that I kind of already had a plan in my mind as to what would happen if that happened. And that's why you need outs, because when the trick's working fine, that's absolutely brilliant. But what happens when the trick goes wrong? What happens when you lose the selected card? What happens if you flash the coin? What happens if this happens or that happens, or you reach into your pocket and the gimmick's broken? What happens if you can't find your thumb tip and you're in the middle of the routine and you absolutely need a thumb tip at that point to do that routine? What happens if you go over to a spectator and they say this and you weren't expecting them to say this? You need to look at every single possible scenario, write it down on a piece of paper if you have to, but think about every single scenario, break it down trick by trick, break it down environment by environment. Okay, I'm at a wedding, what could possibly go wrong? Well, I'm very clumsy, and so I wrote that when I first started doing magic, I was like, okay, what could possibly happen at a wedding, right? Or a table hopping gig. Okay, I can spill someone's drink. Okay, what would I do if I spilt someone's drink? Okay, well, that depends on where I spilt it. What happens if it gets spilt on the table? What happens if it gets spilt in their lap? What happens if it gets spilt in somebody else's lap? What happens? And you could go, well, I'm never going to have that happen to me. It's never going to happen. But all of those have happened to me, by the way. But by thinking about what would happen if all of this went wrong, you're not making a decision in an incredibly stressful situation. You're making the decision beforehand. You're working out what you do, because nobody makes good decisions when they're stressed. They just don't. So rather than making the decision when you're stressed, instead, think about what the decision is that you'd make beforehand. So when that situation arises, you know what to do about it. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, examining your tricks and everything that you do as a performer and figuring out how to actually deal with scenarios is the best way to deal with it. It's what separates the men from the boys or the girls from the women, in my opinion. Okay, so the next question is by Daniel Young. If you had to pick one song that you love and feel is representative of you, what song would it be? My gosh, what a great question. Oh my gosh. Right, okay, let me think. Okay, one song that would be representative of what I try to be. This is what I try to be every single day. I wake up with the goal of doing this every single day. It might not happen every single day, but that's life. But I do try every single day, and that's Be Happy. So I think Happy by Pharrell Williams, I think that would probably be my anthem, because I think it's really important. My dad always used to say to me, and I don't want to get too deep in this, but my dad always used to say to me, "You've only got one shot at life, kid. This is not a trial run. This is not a practice. It's not like one of your computer games where you're gonna get an extra life when you die. This is it. When you die, you're worm food. So make sure that you live your life to the max, and most importantly, spend your time being happy." And I know it's very easy to say that when a lot of stuff's going on, like a global pandemic or whatever it is. But every single day, I try to remind myself to stay happy, even when I'm doing the rants and stuff is pissing me off, and stuff does piss me off. Overall, I'm trying to be a happy person. I try to do that every single day. So I think Happy by Pharrell Williams would be my song that would be representative of what I try to be. So yeah, hope that helps. Okay, so the next question is by Reese Whitehead. I love your tattoos, and I noticed a few of them are to do with magic. Can you talk about them a little bit? Well, I actually did a Q&A special on my tattoos, because the early days of this channel, I used to get lots and lots of questions about them. So I have done a full video. I will link it down below, but I have done a full video on my tattoos. It's a 30-minute video, and I point to every single tattoo, and I tell you what it does, and I even demonstrate some of the tricks that they're designed to do, because each one of my tattoos is designed to do a magic trick. I'm not going to go over it again, because I bet a lot of people have seen that video, but if you haven't, I'm going to link it in the description down below. But yeah, that's your best place to learn about my tattoos. Okay, so I've had several people ask me about these unlisted videos that I put out. You know, like when I've got an idea for a trick, or I talk about one of my older routines that you can't find anymore, and I'll create an unlisted YouTube video, and I'll put a link onto a form that people can click on, and they can download the trick via that link, because I'm totally against exposing magic. A lot of people are saying, where can I find those links? They're spread out all over YouTube, which they are. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. In the description down below, I've done probably 4 or 5 of these right now. I did the Christmas tricks. I did the back off tutorial. I did the coin and the card one. I've done a few different ones. All of the links I'll put down in the description down below, okay? So in the description below, I'll put down all of the links to all of the tricks that I've actually put as unlisted videos, and they're all set up inside Infusionsoft. So all you need to do is just put your email and your name in there, and what will happen is within half an hour, it'll create an email for you and send it off to you with the link to that particular video. So if you've missed any of those tutorials, I'll put the links down below right now. So go look in the description, the links will be there, and you can click on those links and you can learn any of those tricks. Okay, so the final question today is from a few different people, to be honest, and it's about the Rubik's Cube. And a lot of people have said to me, you know, when you solve a Rubik's Cube on this channel, do you use an Instacube? And the answer is no. I have an Instacube. I love the Instacube. There's certain times and certain places that I use the Instacube, but a lot of the time I'm not using the Instacube. Instead, I'm using a normal method of solving the cube, and it's a slightly modified way of solving it. And I'm not going to do any exposure, but for those people that know, this will make sense. So if you are doing a 1 move solve. So you've mixed up the cube and you're doing a 1 second solve, a bit like the sort of thing Brundage does, where you're 4 moves away from solving it, so you kind of do this. That's how most people do a 1 move solve, which is absolutely fine. There's no problem with it, but it looks like you're doing something. It looks like you're solving the cube very, very quickly in one hand. And I wanted to try and make my solve look a little bit more like a magical moment, right? So what I do is I get myself into the same situation, and hopefully I'm not giving anything away, so I can show that the cube's mixed up. And then in the action of coming up like this, I take 2 of the moves out. So now I'm holding the cube like this. Now, as long as I hold it like this and I hold it here like this, we're absolutely fine. It's angle proof. They can look at it from the top. They can look at it. The sides are the bad angles, but this hand is covering this side. This hand is covering this side. The top, the front, and the back is fine. And as long as I haven't got a midget, we're fine, because the bottom isn't a particularly great angle either. So the top's not a great angle, but because my fingers are extending over the top, I look okay. So I'm in this situation, and now I'm only 2 moves away. So now I can do 3, 2, 1. I can take this hand away and I can just do those 2 moves, and it doesn't look like I've done anything. The larger motion of me shaking the cube hides the small emotion of me taking the 2 moves out. So it almost looks like I'm not manipulating anything. It doesn't look like I'm actually solving the cube with one hand. It looks like I'm shaking it and it solves, which is why I think people think is that the Instacube, because it has a kind of a similar look to the Instacube, but it's not. It's just you get yourself into that position and you just do that and it solves. So anybody who's got, if you want to know what I'm talking about, there's a whole bunch of cube resources. I learned cube magic from Cube 3, but for those of you that have got a knowledge of cubes, that should have made sense. And if it's something you want to use, by all means, go for it. So there you go. Hopefully that's answered everyone's questions about Rubik's Cubes. Okay, guys, that's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you very much for asking all of the questions. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and I will try and get to them. And don't forget, tonight we have the review show special going up at 9 o'clock. It's for Ace Magic Studios. So check out that. Have a look at that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And then I'm going to be back on Monday at 9 o'clock with a... what am I doing? With a 5x5. So I'll see you then. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so, that would be a big help. Leave a comment down below. Have a great Sunday. I'll see you again. Take care. Thanks, everyone.